I'm Keeley Wilson. I'm 21 years old, and what I'm most excited about today, this sounds a little bit silly, but I'm a dog walker on the side, and I have a client later, and I walk him by the beach. His name is Buddy. He's like a little golden retriever. So that's I feel like dog walking is what gets me outside because usually I work inside of the house. So yeah, he's at 5 today. So that's what I'm most excited for, walking him at the beach. And he's so good and he's so chill. So
I think that is not silly and very, very much something to be excited about.
Yeah.
I'm like have like vicarious excitement through your experience.
Thank
and
you.
I hope that you have the best time with Buddy.
Thank you. I love Buddy. Yeah.
Literally. He sounds awesome. Okay, cool. So what's a talent or skill you possess that not many people know about?
Yeah. I would say I feel like my relationship building skills, one thing I not only enjoy at work but personally as well is just being able to like foster connections, and I feel like having a way of like making things always really personable, and I feel like that leads to me having really genuine conversations, which is also like why I chose the field that I wanted to get into as well. But not a lot of people would expect that from me because I feel like usually initially like entering a space I can be a little bit reserved, but then once I get out of my comfort zone a little bit, I feel like being able to talk to people one-on-one is a good talent I have of mine. And yeah, just like building really, really good relationships and connections is something that I value, and I think I'm good at it too. So
yeah, that's something I definitely see in you within the 10 minutes we spent
Thank you.
together. So I totally echo that. That's awesome. What is an accomplishment, personal project, or extracurricular activity you are proud of working on?
Yeah, I would say, so I'm a senior at UC Riverside, and I'm involved in a professional business organization called Highlander Business Society. And the goal of this club, I was one of the first initial founding members, is to really give underrepresented students resources when it comes to enhancing their career. Because I attend a like minority serving institution, a Hispanic serving institution, a lot of kids go into college not knowing, like, yes, I have my degree, but you also need to get internships as well to add value and enhance the value of your degree. And I'm a business student, so a lot of business students don't know that. So a lot of students graduate and they're like, oh, why can't I get a job? Because a lot of kids didn't know that, you're supposed to go to internships and have externships and stuff like that. So with my club, one thing that we do is we have a mock internship program, and that was something that I really helped curate. And essentially we admit like either like 15 to 20 students per quarter, because we're on the quarter system, so 3 times a year, and we give other students like resources that we've learned from our internships, myself and other members, public speaking feedback, how to enhance your presentations, and how to interview. So say like our fellow students go through like 20 interviews in 1 week, and I'm the person that kind of helps give those interviews and give feedback on the responses. That's like, I'm called like the interview coordinator. So I feel like one of my biggest accomplishments is really help curating that program. I've been in Highlander Business Society for the past like 4 years, all of college. So really being able to see it grow is something that I really enjoy, and seeing our students after like going through the mock internship program, being able to like get their own internships too. Like 4 of my mentees now work at the Big Four, which I feel like is amazing. Nice. And they started from freshmen, and really being able to like help them curate the skills and discover skills that they didn't know that they had is something that I really, really enjoy. So I just really value the mentorship aspect being in the club. I've held various different positions too. I was previously president last quarter. Now I'm an active member going into just my senior year. But yeah, I would say that's my biggest accomplishment, is really being able to help curate the internship program and giving people feedback on interviewing skills and such. And not only that, but just seeing them being able to apply that to their own career, I feel like is really rewarding. So even though I'm a senior and I'm almost done and I'm not going to be involved in the club anymore, I'm hoping I can continue coming back as an alumni and doing like speaker panels and all that such. So yeah, definitely being involved in my org on campus. Yeah.
Oh my goodness, what an accomplishment.
Thank you.
I feel like it is incredible the time and effort that you've contributed to your community and like making people's lives better.
Thank you.
Actively before
That's
you've even
the
gotten your
goal.
degree. Like, I think that's incredible.
Yeah.
And it's something that for you is like so tangible. Like, you're seeing how your mentees' lives are changing and like gaining experience and being able to apply that to like after college. I think that's awesome.
Yeah, and even too like having them come back as well, like after their summer internships, because we have a new like mock internship every quarter. So after they come back within the next quarter, and being able to now give feedback based on what they've learned, whether that's related to public speaking or like wearing professional wear, I feel like it's just really rewarding seeing how every year year, the feedback just keeps increasing, and then I feel like the quality of the program keeps increasing too. Totally. So yeah, it's been a good experience for sure. Love that. One of my highlights. Yeah.
Know that I'm very impressed.
Thank you.
I feel like not only did you like create tangible change, but you created a legacy in like
I like
the way that you.
Yeah. I didn't think about it.
No, like totally. That. Like in what you've contributed to that project, like I feel like you'll be remembered for that. Thank you. For sure. So
I like that word, legacy.
Yeah, legacy.
Yeah, that's
it's
the goal.
For sure. That's awesome. Okay. What tips would you give someone trying to do something similar? So maybe what tips would you give like another student who wants to contribute to an org or like perhaps a personal project, et cetera, et cetera?
Yeah. I would say just not even being afraid to step out of your comfort zone. I feel like for me initially going into college, I was always like worried about asking people like, how did you get here? How did you get at this point in your career, or this point in your not only professional career, but collegiate career as well? Like, how did you become a leader in your org? And I feel like asking those questions is like the stepping stone, and that's what's really important. And that's one thing that's helped me enhance my development as well, like asking those questions, because so many people are willing to help you, and so many people are willing to give you that feedback. And then I feel like as well, the more you ask different people, you start to realize like people take similar steps to, for example, like becoming an org leader, being involved. And I don't know, I've just kind of realized like asking people, and not even interviewing them, but having like those conversations, it really opens up the door to so many different things, because you start to realize like if this is a step someone else took, this is something I can do as well. So yeah, not being afraid to ask those questions, and having that conversation is like always that first step that I try to push people towards.
Totally.
And yeah, I would say being open. Absolutely. And having those discussions. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well said. Okay, next question. What does education mean to you?
To me, education is worldwide. I feel like one thing that I've realized is that being Americans, we tend to have a really one-sided point of view of not only just what's in front of us, like being in school, being at college, but just what's around us as well. I feel like our cultural perspective is really one-sided. Our view of people is one-sided. So I feel like education is universal, and it's something that everybody has to experience, whether that's studying abroad or even reading books from authors that aren't American. It's really important. So I feel like having a universal point of view, that's what education is, because education is all around us, and the diversity around us, the diversity in people, which is one thing I feel like in the States we do really good at. But the diversity in our literature and where our knowledge comes from is something that's also really important. So I feel like my answer was a little bit vague and covers a lot of different things. But yeah, I feel like education is universal. Totally. It's worldwide, and it's something we should all kind of be taking steps to grasp at for sure.
I am 100% with you. I don't think it was vague at all. I feel like there is a certain experience in America that I think we have like very much the benefit and the privilege of living in a melting pot, and like it is something that we don't really acknowledge, like the stories outside of our country, because we're like, well, like this is comfortable, and like we see certain cultures, we see certain stories, and like we're just like, okay, that's where it ends. But it's like also there's how many countries outside of us, how many educational systems outside of us, how many different communities and cultures outside of us. Like I don't think that education ends with a definition in American culture. Exactly. And I'm 100% like with you on that. I also think it takes like a lot of initiative to really like push yourself as a student, not even as a student per se, because learning doesn't really stop at the classroom, but to push yourself as someone learning to like go out and find those things. So yeah, I'm just completely with you. And well said, for sure.
Thank you.
What's a topic, subject, or skill that you think should be taught in schools? So that's a follow-up on what we've...
Yeah, I would say, like, as a business major, one thing I've noticed is that we don't really have the foundational skills to know, like, what to expect when you go into your first-time job. So I feel like a career development prep class is something that should be taught not only in college, but in high school as well, such as how to interview and what goes into that. What should you expect in your first time job? Like how should we dress? How do you write a professional email? And I feel like those were all things, like starting my first job, were things that I had no idea what to expect. And thank goodness for my club, because I feel like leveraging those, having those conversations with other people really helped me like kind of figure that out. But a career development prep class I feel like is so important, because so many students go into these opportunities and they're not sure what to expect, especially students from underrepresented communities, and they haven't really had those resources to understand like, oh, this is what I should expect. So yeah, career development prep class for sure. And that's just, I feel like it's just the basics for jobs too. Like not even anything like extensive like internships or anything, but just like any job I feel like is something that's really important. So
totally.
Yeah.
Okay. Tell me about someone who has left an impact on you and why.
Yeah. Ooh, I would say my mom. My mom for sure. My mom is an RN and she takes care of medically fragile children. And I feel like she was the one who made me realize, or actually letting me take a step back. I used to go in to work with her because she does like at-home care. So when I was younger, I would like sit and watch her do her care. And one thing that I realized was she made me realize that there's not really an accessibility when it comes to resources. It's funny that we're talking about educational resources, but just resources in general when it comes to like our healthcare system and stuff related to that. And it was really, really discouraging. But she was the one who told me, you know, like even though say her patient may not have these resources, it's up to other people as well to be able to provide those resources too. So giving back to like nonprofits or helping students with, as I was saying, like with scholarship opportunities and interviewing stuff and all of that stuff related to my org, she was like, there's so many other ways that we can help people give back. So it took me going into, you know, my mom. It took me going into my mother's job and seeing her help her medically fragile children. And that was just really inspiring to me because I feel like as a kid, I would get really discouraged where it's like, you're doing all this nursing stuff, but like you don't have the resources that you need. But even how she was saying like, you know, you can make an impact right now. And it doesn't just have to be, you know, with this specific group of children. It can be with any group that you want. I feel like that was really inspiring to me. So, and my mom is just the type of person where she's like always type to be like a go-getter. She's like, life doesn't just like, life will pass you by. Like you have to be the one to be proactive and discover what you want. She's like, do the research, figure out what you want to do, talk to people and, you know the steps that you want to take. So she was always like a big push for me too. Not even just like seeing her do the work that she does, but, also just like her words of motivation too. And she has a great energy. My mom's like really like loud and fun and yeah, so yeah, definitely her. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Thank you for sharing that with me, first of all. And like I definitely see like how your mom has like shaped you and impacted you. Yeah. Like she sounds like a lovely lady.
Thank you. Love her.
That's awesome. Okay. Is there a cause or social issue that you're passionate about and why is it important to you?
I would say definitely international education.
Totally.
So attending UC Riverside, going to a school that doesn't get as much funding as other UC schools. I've had the privilege of like working in our study abroad office as a volunteer. So I help students write study abroad scholarship essays one-on-one, and I speak on like experience panels and giving my experience, like how it was working in the office and how I was able to find specific resources. And I would say definitely international education because like I mentioned earlier, I feel like expanding our worldview beyond the American perspective is so important because I feel like some of us tend to be in a bubble and not recognize the privileges that we have and being able to go to different countries and really see how other people live and being able to absorb yourself in different diversities and cultures and even just like mannerisms and cultural norms, I feel like is so important and it's something that every student needs to experience. And even for example, being at UC Riverside, we have a lot of international students coming in. And one thing that's different about, for example, Germany's education system is that as a student, you do school for 3 months and then you go work for 3 months. And that's something that I feel like, and after speaking with them, noticing, you know, how wide their worldview was, and they were so compassionate, had so much empathy for so many different groups of people, why I feel like as Americans, we tend to have a really one-sided perspective on things. That kind of is what made me realize, like, I feel like international education is so important because it gives you that worldview that we need. So yeah, definitely the promotion of that and really encouraging students to study abroad and realizing that, like, you know, studying abroad really is accessible. You just have to like find the resources. Like even how I am now, like I like went on TikTok and searched like scholarship opportunities in San Diego and like, but I've realized like some students really need that push for whether that's to study abroad or for any scholarship opportunity. So I would definitely say international education and being able to promote that. And I have actively been involved in our like education abroad office for the past 2 years. So working alongside advisors and helping students figure out what program works best for them based on their finances and such, and what they want to get out of their abroad program, is something that I really enjoy. And I am planning on continuing that after post-grad too, helping out in the office. Yeah.
What advice would you give to someone who wants to make a positive impact on their community?
I would say find out what you're passionate about, and find out like what makes you move and what makes you happy, essentially. I feel like for me, that was something I just now realized within the past year, is really discovering, what makes me happy outside of work, and, getting the finances I need to support myself. So yeah, I would say really discovering what you're passionate about and taking that and being able to shape it into the work that you do, and finding the common themes into what you're passionate about. Like for me, I realized like I really value mentorship, but I didn't notice like, okay, me joining this club and giving feedback to people, that's mentorship. Or me getting involved in my study abroad office and, giving advice on different programs, that's mentorship. So I feel like discovering what makes you tick in a good way. Yeah. And like what makes you really happy, and being able to build off of that to be able to support your community. Because I feel like in order to give back in any way, shape, or form, you have to enjoy what you're doing first. So whether that's connecting with different people or working for a nonprofit, yeah, I feel like that's how you find what you're passionate about. That answer was like super vague, but
no, I feel like that was a great answer. And thank you so much for sharing. That was great advice. I'm gonna take it to heart for sure. Awesome. Okay, what is a challenge you've had to work through, and how has it shaped you?
Yeah, I feel like tying into like discovering how to give back to your community, I feel like for me something I've struggled with is what makes me passionate, and what do I enjoy. I feel like it's something that I've kind of had a difficult time working through, because growing up, like I didn't really come from a family that had all the resources that we needed. So I feel like my main mindset going into college was just like, okay, how do I make money to be able to support myself and my family? And during that time, I feel like it really got lost into what do I enjoy in life and what makes me happy. And I didn't even realize that until this past summer when I visited, my friend in Hawaii, and I was like, what do I enjoy as a hobby? What do I like doing for fun? Or what is a way that I want to make an impact in the world? And because I was so caught up into like, how do I want to make money? I feel like I really lost sight of that. But I would say one thing that really helped me was deleting all my social medias and deleting my Instagram and my TikTok for a summer really made me just like sit with myself and be like, okay, like if I'm waking up this morning and I'm not being absorbed into other people's lives, I'm being absorbed into my life right now. What's something that I enjoy? And I feel like it took me a couple months to realize, like, I really like scrapbooking, and I like taking photos, and just like doing like little stuff like that, like cooking too. I realized like I really, really like baking. I feel like it took me a long time to realize that, because I was so caught up once again in that like American hustle culture.
Absolutely.
Where I didn't really realize like what makes me me. Yeah. So yeah, I feel like deleting all my social medias and surrounding myself with people that really love me and care about me and are able to like give me feedback on how I'm doing, that helps me a lot really figure out like what are my passions. So yeah. So true. A little philosophical, but
no, I feel like that is incredible, and the discipline that it takes for that
it was tough.
Like commendable. Like I am proud of you. But okay, so we've reached our last question. Cool. So sad. But this question I'm going to have you answer facing your camera, because you will be addressing our Triple V students. But for this question, what would you say to a student who will be doing their storyteller interview?
I would say for the students coming into their storyteller interview, just know that Triple V really wants to get to know you as a person. What are your passions? What are your hobbies? What's the impact that you want to make on the world? And when answering those questions, remember that it's not like a formal interview. I feel like it's really conversational and it's really comfortable, because they really want to get to know who you are at your core, outside of the applications and the transcripts and the GPA. Like really getting to know yourself, I feel like, is what they want to focus on. So come in with an open mind and with great positive energy, and everything will definitely be amazing.
Hey YouTube! If you enjoyed this person's story, don't forget to subscribe to hear from more inspiring youth. If you want to apply to the Storyteller Scholarship or get more involved in our organization, all you have to do is sign up at the link below. Thanks for watching!